Hello everyone, welcome to the Cyber Weekly. Today we thought of having a security review, and there's some key things which caught my eyes, and one of them being is how are you able to actually perform an attack using a zip file? Because it's a very common thing. They share with you a zip file, and then you know open it up and then wonder what will go wrong. So will look at that. Then the second one is something called Remcos RAT. So we shall dive deep into exactly what it is and how to actually solve it and stop it when it actually attacks you. So join me with Josephine, Olok, and me, Deogratius Okello, as we dissect the topic. So, Josephine, how is your evening? We don't want to disclose what time this is morning.
You've already disclosed. My evening is fine. How about yours?
It's okay,
Yeah.
all things considered.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I believe I'm the first one to be asked questions.
Yeah. I think you introduced the subject. I think we're going to talk about the zip file. So how is a zip file being used to hack an individual?
Well, the assumption is most of the times we get files like zip files, and then we load them to our machines, and then let's say they send it through an email. Then you download it, and then you extract it. Then you're able to actually use it. So the whole point of this particular attack is putting it inside the zip file. So without going into so much detail, but that's the whole point. So it's able to be placed inside that zip file, and then later on be extracted in order for you to be attacked. Yeah, but it affects mostly Windows machines. Yeah,
Okay. So you get the zip file through email,
yeah,
essentially, or however you get it. Okay.
yeah.
And then what are broken zips?
So broken zips is basically, now this is if you have to break down the whole process of how this is implemented, is they will get a zip file they'll basically get a file which is not malicious, and then they'll combine it with another file which is malicious. Then they will, because of the different technologies which are used for compressing. So they're trying to, should I say, they're trying to exploit that element of the way files are usually archived or zipped or compressed. So that's the whole idea. So basically, the whole process is they'll get a known good file, then they'll combine it with the one which is malicious. Then in a binary form, they're able to actually place them together in a way that it's not easily visible for the zip to actually know that it's actually a containing malware or not. So then later on, they will uh, put it all and then compress it as one file. Then the problem is different zip uh, types all react differently to uh, going through, like, let's say, the malware, or going through the file to find out whether it's actually having malware or not. So in this case, let's say it is a .zip. So there's a particular section it will check, and then there's another section it won't check. So what happens is the person who is performing this attack will put it in a sector where they will know that when they are extracting, it won't be able to be detected by the antivirus and then removed. So that's the whole idea behind how the broken zips work.
And how can this be mitigated?
One is be suspicious of every zip file you get. Do not assume that it is all okay. So that would be like the best, most cautious option. Secondly is ensure that you keep basic things. Have your antivirus updated with the latest malware signatures, and you also have a proper firewall, which will be able to also help remove some of that if it is getting beyond your machine, or an EDR solution which will stop it from affecting any other machine apart from you. So that would be my way of mitigating such a situation.
Okay, so it's basically standard
Yeah.
way of managing such.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yours is now the interesting one. Remcos RAT. Sounds like a name of a disease. So
Yeah.
tell us about Remcos. Yeah.
Yeah. So Remcos is actually a commercial software tool that's been designed to provide users with the advanced features to remotely control computers, but it has now been repurposed to be a remote access Trojan. So cyber criminals are using it, are manipulating the capabilities of that software to remotely access computers in a malicious way.
That's interesting. So how is this actually being exploited?
So, as I said, it's a legitimate application, but it's been repurposed to perform malicious activities. So, it allows then the cyber criminals to remotely access, take control of a victim's system. So, the way it is that they exploit it is, I think, what they do is they send an email. So, you send an email with like a purchase order, which with an Excel attachment. Now, this Excel attachment, these Excel attachments now, when you open it, they they exploit a known vulnerability in Office. It's CVE 2017-0199, and when you click on that Excel, it exploits a vulnerability, then it downloads and execute a HTML application file. So now this HTML application file is, it's basically wrapped up in a lot of things in layers of JavaScript, Visual Basic script, PowerShell code, so that it avoids detection. So you're not really sure what it is. Then it retrieves this HTA file, then retrieves and executes Remcos. Now Remcos, remember, it's the genuine application. So it retrieves that and it runs it in memory. Now it runs as a fileless variant of Remcos. So it doesn't create a local file on your machine. It just runs in memory. So once it is in the memory, then it can be it is it can then be it can then be controlled by the criminals. So they can now take control of it so that it runs remotely. It then harvests system data, and then all kinds of information from the host. So any commands issued by the attacker allows now Remcos to do all sorts of things. You harvest files, it enumerates and terminates processes. It manages system services. It edits Windows registry. It can do all those. It can execute commands and scripts, capture clipboard content, change. It basically takes control of your computer. So um, it even can disable your keyboard and mouse, but even control your camera and your microphone. So that's how it's being exploited.
Seems deadly. So how can
Yeah.
someone avoid being the the possible victim of such a circumstance.
So it's exactly what you've said. You have to be very cautious when you receive emails from from people who are known, but also with attachments. So you should avoid opening um, attachments when you're not sure who the source is, especially if those attachments are asking you to say enable macros or other active content. Yeah, then obviously because this rat is exploiting a known vulnerability in Office, it's important that Office is regularly updated so that you can patch that vulnerability, that CVE vulnerability that I mentioned. And obviously, it's important to use a reputable antivirus, anti-malware solution, and which is updated with its signature file, so that you can detect malware like the Remcos RAT, as well as scripts. Then there's the issue of obviously educating users about social engineering tactics. And it's so important that users are trained on what phishing looks like, and also the dangers of enabling macros in documents. I think with these measures, we can reduce the risk of falling victim to Remcos, RAT, and similar threats like that, especially those which come through email and attachments.
Okay, that's interesting. Any final thoughts or recommendations or anything?
I think what I find that this is it's one of those things where you've got a tool like Remcos. It is a legal tool, legitimate, but then it's also being used in a malicious way.
Yeah, it
Um,
sounds more like a Trojan.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the scary thing about it. It's readily available, but it's a sophisticated tool. So it's not just a simple tool that is used by elite hackers. It's really easily available, which means that it's also readily available um, to cyber criminals. And then when you combine its range of capabilities, it becomes really serious. Uh, I mean, what is worrying is that cyber criminals will continue to exploit the human nature. I think you still want to do this phishing, or send people, hoping people will be unsuspecting and still click on links. Yeah, but it's like you have this. It's like a cat and mouse game. It's like you have this wonderful tool, and then cyber security criminals exploit it, and it's almost like you have to play catch up. You're always trying to play catch up with your cybersecurity. So as soon as you develop countermeasures, you find that the attackers have new ways of attacking. So really, it's so important that security is there's so many layers to it, that you have your technology layer, like the antivirusing and anti-patching, but more importantly is also the continued user education, so that you mitigate the risk. But it's not we cannot afford to be complacent about security, because there's always something new that is happening. So that is where the concern is. Even with what you think is a powerful tool, you find that that very tool is being exploited. So we have to continue to be vigilant. How about you? Any final thoughts?
Still, I will still go back to your same point that at the same time, I was reading here, REMCOS actually stands for Remote Control Surveillance Software. So it is used as a commercial tool for remotely controlling computers. Just imagine that power in the hacker's hands. So like that's really a lot. So and yeah, so and the whole idea with most attacks is you want to get the highest, the highest in terms of definitely getting more money from, either ransoming or anything. So at the end of the day, so you need to ensure This is why you find that people who use Linux say they don't get attacked so much. But again, you are very few. So you're like a drop in the ocean. So, but with Windows, there are multiple. That's why we always find several CVEs. So so you need to ensure that all your systems are always updated, follow best practices, and other than that, I think if Josephine has nothing to say, we shall end here.
Yeah, nothing further. Thank you, Deo.
Okay, thank you. We have something special for the next episodes. Other than that, see you all in the next.